Hello, dear students. In this video, we're going to talk about our new lesson about respiration, part 1. Can we live on Mars? This is a big question. Can you answer this question? I think after this video, yes, we can. So, respiration. Our lesson is about respiration. What is the relation between respiration and oxygen gas? And also its relation with another gas which is carbon dioxide, CO2. So what is the relation between respiration, oxygen, and carbon dioxide? Let's first go deeply inside the respiratory system. Respiratory system of humans is composed of many different organs that has different functions. This figure, you have to know it, and you have to know the labeling of this respiratory system of humans. So the letters A represents the nose, where it contains the nasal cavities. Okay, the opening of the nose, they are called nasal cavities. Here we have the mouth, the pharynx here, the pharynx and larynx, the trachea, which is like a tube, down to the lungs, bronchus, which are branches, bronchioles, there are smaller branches here, and the air sac that contain the air are called alveoli. So here you have to know the respiratory system labeling. You have to know the nose, the mouth, the pharynx, the larynx, the trachea like a tube moving down to the lungs, which is the most important organ inside the respiratory system. The lungs is the most important organ. We have here the bronchus branching here, the bronchioles, which are the branches, and the alveoli, which are the air. So the pathway of air along with the respiratory system. We start with the nose first. Number 1. 2, we move to the pharynx. Number 3, we move to the larynx. So nose, pharynx, larynx. Then we move to the trachea. Then we move to the bronchus, number 5. Number 6, we move to the bronchioles. And finally, number 7, we move to the alveoli, which are the air sacs inside. What is breathing? Breathing is the actual mechanical intake of air. When we get in air, this is called breathing. Breathing consists of two phases, inhalation and exhalation. They are called the respiratory movements. So inhalation and exhalation. Inhalation is the process of taking in air. So in, taking air in. Exhalation, releasing the air outside the body. So what's the definition of inhalation? It's taking in air. So whenever we breathe, we take in air. So this is called inhalation. So in, taking air in. Exhalation, releasing air out. So exit. Okay, so it's called exhalation. So whenever we breathe, taking air in is called inhalation, while taking air out is called exhalation.
The respiratory system moves air through the nose, pharynx, larynx, trachea, and bronchus to the alveoli where the gas exchange between oxygen and carbon dioxide occurs. Nares are the openings to the nose. The nasal cavity is lined with cilia, mucous membranes, and blood capillaries. The air is filtered by cilia, moistened by mucous membranes, and warmed by the blood. Air moves into the pharynx or throat, the common passageway for food and air. Air continues on to the larynx. The epiglottis, a flap of tissue in front of the larynx, closes off the larynx when swallowing to prevent food from entering. The larynx or voice box contains the vocal folds. The trachea or windpipe connects the larynx to the bronchial tree. The cartilage rings of the trachea prevent the trachea from collapsing. Lungs are spongy tissue with alveoli and blood capillaries. Breathing occurs because of the expansion and contraction of the lungs. The bronchi carrying the air subdivide into smaller branches called bronchioles, At the end of each bronchiole are the alveolar sacs. The alveolar sacs are surrounded by blood capillaries and contain millions of single-layer alveoli cells where the gas exchange takes place. Oxygenated air goes from the nose to the pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchus, and alveoli. By the process of diffusion, oxygen in the air moves from the alveoli to the capillaries. Carbon dioxide moves from the capillaries to the alveoli and is exhaled. This process is called respiration.
So this is breathing in and breathing out. After watching the video, breathing in, it's called inhalation, while breathing out is called exhalation. So breathing in and breathing out, what will happen? Here, whenever we breathe in, the chest will expand, will increase in size. Also, the diaphragm, the muscle below the lungs, will contract, while during the exhalation, breathing out, the chest contracts and the diaphragm will relax. So, this is the difference between these two movements.
Mechanics of breathing. Consciously take a breath and think about the fact that there are 10 different muscle groups working together to make this happen. These muscle groups include the diaphragm and intercostal muscles. The main muscle used for breathing is the diaphragm. The diaphragm is a dome-shaped structure consisting of several large muscles, which is sandwiched between the chest cavity, containing the lungs and the rib cage, and the abdomen, containing the digestive system, including your stomach. The muscles that move the rib cage itself are the internal and external intercostal muscles. They are each attached to the ribs and run between them. To inhale air, the diaphragm contracts and moves down, while the external intercostal muscles contract, forcing the rib cage up and out. The combined effect of the diaphragm and intercostal muscles increases the volume of the chest cavity and expands the lungs. This expansion of the lungs increases their volume, reducing the pressure within them, causing air to be drawn in. This action is similar to a piston sucking petrol into a car engine. In normal breathing, we use around 25% of our lung capacity, which is called our tidal volume. As you inhale deeply, the diaphragm moves further down into the abdomen, pushing your belly out, giving more room for the lungs to expand and draw in more air. This type of breathing is called belly breathing or abdominal breathing and is critical to prepare you for your free dive. Belly breathing allows you to completely fill your lungs with air. The maximum amount of air your lungs can hold is called your total lung capacity. With training, you can use more of your lung capacity.
Here we go with this table. This table is showing the different respiratory movements during inhalation and exhalation. We will talk about the position of the thoracic cage, the state of the diaphragm, the position of the diaphragm, the volume of the thoracic cage, and the pathway of air. So during inhalation, the thoracic cage will be raised, will increase, will be raised, while during exhalation or expiration, it will be lowered. Diaphragm will be inflated, okay, while during exhalation will be deflated. How can we know inflated or deflated? Inhalation, the diaphragm is inflated. Inflated, inhalation. Deflated during the exhalation. Position of the thoracic cage, state of the volume of the thoracic cage, volume. The volume of the thoracic cage will increase. Why? Because we get more air. So the air will be inside the lungs, so they will increase. While exhalation, we will get air outside, so the lungs will decrease inside. Position of our pathway of the air during inhalation, the air will go from outside, from the environment, to inside, to our body, while during exhalation, it will be from inside to the outside. So here, position of the thoracic cage, it's raised during inhalation, while it's lowered, as we said, during exhalation. state of the lungs, it's inflated, meaning that it's full of oxygen. Inflated, meaning that I want to inflate a balloon. Inflating a balloon, I have to give it air. So giving the lungs air, they will be inflated. Inhalation, they will be inflated. Why? They will be deflated, so we'll get rid of all the air outside the lungs. Volume of the thoracic cage, sure, the volume will increase since the size of the lungs will increase, and the lungs, they are covered by the thoracic cage while they are damaged in exhalation. By the way, inhalation is called, as we said, inspiration, while exhalation is called expiration. Pathway of air, the air will come from outside to inside, from the environment to the body, while that of exhalation will come from inside to outside, from my body to outside. Okay, thank you.